Hi, thank you for joining me. This is Dr. Caruso. In this tutorial, you will learn how to create an e-learning tutorial with a graphical user interface in Google Slides. Let's head on over to Google Slides to get started. I've logged into my email account, and under the menu here, I'm going to select Slides. And rather than pick a template, I'm going to select Start a New Presentation with a Blank Slide. Now I've already decided on some things for this interactive tutorial, this e-learning course, and I've decided that I am going to include some information about the course. I'm going to include a piece on how to navigate this training. I'm going to include my contact information, some frequently asked questions, and I'm going to have 3 modules, a review, and then a quiz. And all of this is going to be created for my client, Rosie's Restaurant. I have already created a storyboard for this Google Slides interactive tutorial on waitstaff etiquette, and it is going to have a total of 16 slides. It will have a graphic user interface, an About This Course slide, navigation slide, contact information slide, frequently asked questions slide. It will have 3 modules. Each module will begin with an introduction slide to the module. Module 1 will have 2 slides. Module 2 will have 2 slides, and these are the topics and what I intend to include. And Module 3 will also have 2 slides. Then this interactive training tutorial will also have a review slide and a placeholder for a quiz that I'm going to build in the future. So it's very important to follow the Ed.D process, and the design phase is the storyboard phase, and you take the storyboard and you develop your training tutorial based upon your storyboard. Nothing more, nothing less. So with that in mind, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to create some placeholder slides for my content. So this first slide that I'm going to create is going to be called About This Course. I'm going to create one that says Navigation. And I'm going to create a slide for every piece of information that I would like to include in this e-learning course. So as you can see here, I have quite a few slides in my presentation so far with all of the content that I intend to include. This is going to be for a client, Rosie's Restaurant, and the topic of this training is waitstaff etiquette. And I intend on having 3 modules. So here on this very first slide, I'm going to start to build my title page, which is also going to serve as a graphical user interface. A graphical user interface will allow the learners to maneuver or navigate through this tutorial at a self-paced basis. So they would be able to choose, instead of viewing it as a presentation from one slide to the next, this will allow them to have sections and let them go to various sections depending on which point of the training they would like to engage in. Or let's say that they didn't finish a part of the training the day before and they would like to pick up where they left off. This is going to allow them to do that very easily. So I'm just going to change the layout of this first slide because I want it to be completely blank. And I'm going to begin building some tabs that are going to represent the pieces for my graphical user interface. So I'm going to go to Insert, and I'm going to start inserting some shapes. And I like these trapezoid shapes here. Because it kind of looks like a tab, and I like the look and feel to kind of make it look like tabs in a binder. So I'm going to start drawing these across the top. It defaults in a blue color, but I'm going to change its color to keep a theme going here. So my client has certain colors that she uses for her restaurant. Her name is Rosie, so she likes to use red. So I'm going to give this a fill color of red. I'm also going to open the format options, and those will appear here to the right. And I'm going to look at reflection, and I can make this a little bit more transparent. I can make it have a shadow effect, a drop shadow. I can change its position. I can work on situating the text if I would like. For now, I like the way it has this little effect here because it actually gives it some dimension and makes it look like a real tab. So since I'm happy with this, I know that I need 4 more of these across the top here. So I'm going to do a right click and I'm going to copy. And then I'm going to do a right click again and I'm going to paste. Control V on your keyboard may work for you as well. And I have the 4 that I want. I'm going to situate these across the top. That little snap to red line that you see is going to help me position them. Do a little overlap if you would like. Okay, that looks pretty good. Now I'm going to give these a name. The first one is going to be about this course. The second one is going to be navigation. The third one is going to be contact. And the fourth one is going to be my frequently asked questions. And then again, you can center the text as you would like. Just center these in the middle of the tab here. There we have it. And each of these tabs is going to correspond to the pages that I have built. So we're going to do this by building what we call hyperlinks. So I'm going to go ahead, and this first one about this course, I'm going to click on it so that the entire shape is highlighted rather than just highlighting the text that's inside. Because if you're inside the box, the hyperlink is going to apply to whatever you've highlighted inside the box. It's better though if you have the hyperlink apply to the entire shape so that eventually when this is in presentation mode, you will see that the learner can hover anywhere over this tab to activate that hyperlink. So here we go. I have the entire shape of the About This Course tab highlighted. I'm going to go to Insert, and the thing that I am going to insert is a link. And I wanted to link it to a slide in this presentation. And the one that I want it to link to is the slide that's called About This Course. So that is the hyperlink, and I'm going to say Apply. I'm going to do the same for this navigation tab. I'm going to go to Insert. The thing I'm going to insert is a link. I'm going to link to a slide in this presentation, and this time I'm going to link to the navigation slide and apply. I'm going to do the same for contact and FAQ. Along the left-hand slide here is where I've decided to put the links to my modules, the review, and the quiz. So I'm going to go ahead and insert a shape. I'm going to choose a shape. This time I'm going to choose this rounded rectangle here. And I know that I need 5 of these across the left-hand side. So once I get it to the look and feel that I would like, then I can go ahead and copy them. I'm going to stick with the spread. I am going to apply an effect to it, so I'm going to format. Look at my format options. I'm going to do this drop shadow again. I chose a red color for my drop shadow here, and I just used some of these settings to get it to where I wanted it. When I'm happy with that, since I need 5 of these, I'm going to copy, and then I'm going to paste 4 more. And I'm going to arrange them across the side using my Stack to Guide for help in spacing. And then I'm going to name them. You know, I have built previously all of these pages, and these are going to correspond to the pages that I have built. So I already have these pages built in my presentation. And the first one is going to be my Module 1. And it's going to talk about a positive attitude. And I'm going to name these remaining tabs. So you can see here that I have my tabs all named, and previously I have created a page that is going to correspond to each of these links. So I'm going to go ahead and build my links. So the first one is Module 1. I'm going to insert link to this presentation, just scrolling for Module 1 and applying that link. I'm going to do the same thing for Module 2, Module 3, the review, and the quiz. When I went to insert the hyperlink for the quiz, because it's so near to the bottom of the page, what I had to do, because this menu did not let me see the quiz option, I had to kind of temporarily move this whole tab, then go to Insert Link, slide in this presentation so that I could see my whole menu options. Sometimes that happens if you're at the very bottom of your page. So this is quiz, and I'm going to link it there. But then I'm going to move it back here now that it's all set. When I built these links, I was very careful to select the entire shape rather than click inside, because remember, if you click inside, the hyperlink is going to apply to the words inside the box rather than the entire box. So I have a corresponding page linked to each of these tabs. And if I put this in presentation, just going to click on present to see how everything is looking. I can see, for example, that if I hover over these tabs, that I get a little hand that seems to be pointing upward with the index finger. This is an indication that you have correctly built in your hyperlinks rather than having just an arrow sign. If I click on Module 3, for example, it takes me directly to Module 3. Now it's a pretty blank page because I haven't completely populated, but that will be next. But what is missing is a way to get back to the graphical user interface or get back to one of the other modules. So our next step is to build in more navigation. And because this time we want a home button and perhaps a next slide and a previous slide navigation button to appear on every slide in our show or in our presentation, we want to use the slide master for this next step. To access the slide master view, go to Slide, Edit Theme, and when we do that, it looks like our entire show has disappeared, but I can assure you it has not. We can see here hints of what our show really looks like, but the master looks a little different. And one thing to be aware of is you need to use the slide bar to slide all the way up to the largest slide in this master view. And the reason being, we're going to work with this slide, and from now on, any slide that you add to your show will have the shapes that you are creating here will appear on every single slide, even if you insert the slides at a later time. So the things that we would want to include here, I'm just going to go up to Insert, and I'm going to go to Shape. And we would always want the learner to be able to continue in the tutorial or in the e-learning tutorial. So we are going to allow the learner to continue. So we're going to add an arrow that looks like this. And if I want to keep my theme, I can make this fill with red. And I'm going to assign a link to it. So I'm going to say Insert Link, a slide in this presentation. And I want the learner to, when the learner clicks on this arrow, that it goes to the next slide. So I'm going to apply that action. I also want the learner to be able to come to the home page or to that graphical user interface. So here you could insert a shape, and any of these shapes you could make them hyperlink to the graphical user interface. So if you find something here, or you could search the web for an image that you would like. So I'm just going to search for an animated rose because this is Rosie's restaurant and a rose is her signature. And I'm going to see what kind of results I get. So I can choose one of these. And I think I'm going to, just for purposes of this demonstration, choose this one. I'm going to go ahead and say Insert. It inserts into the show very largely, so I'm going to have to scale it down. I'm going to put this here. Well, I'm going to put it here for now because I know that menu is kind of hard to get to. So I'm going to go to Insert, and the thing I'm going to insert is a link within this presentation, and I always want it to go to the first slide. So the first slide in my show is that graphical user interface. So I'm going to say Slide 1, Apply, and then I can reposition this here. Then I'm going to put my presentation into the present mode so that you can see the difference now. And here at the bottom you can see the two tabs that have been added, and across the top here the same pages are still existing here. So this time, let's say if I go to module 3, not very much happening there because I have not populated the content. But this time, if I wanted to go to the next slide, I could click the arrow and it will take me to the next slide. If I wanted to go back to the graphical user interface, I could click on the rose and it will take me right back here to my main menu. So now the learner has the ability to navigate to any of these sections within the tutorial or the e-learning tutorial, and also to choose to continue or choose to go back home at any point. So we will let the learner know what these two symbols mean, because we're going to include how to navigate, and we will be populating all of these different sections in the show. But before we do that, we're going to give a little bit of character to this first page. So we're going to add an image, and we're also going to add a name. So I'm back in edit mode. I'm on my graphical user interface. This time I want to insert a text box, because the name of my training is going to be Wait Staff Etiquette. I'm going to bold that. I'm going to make it larger. And I'm going to include an image here. Now I have some images saved on my computer that I would like to use. You have the option of inserting an image from your computer or searching on the web. I have some that I would like to upload from my computer, so that's exactly what I'm going to do. So I've located where the picture that I want to use is on my flash drive, and I'm just going to double click that, and it comes right inside here. So I want to make sure that it's not covering any of my other elements. So my next order of business is to begin populating the various parts of this e-learning tutorial. So I'm going to start with about this course. And as you can see, I've populated several of these slides. About this course now tells the learners exactly what they are going to learn in this tutorial. I've even added Rosie's picture, just like I did on the graphical user interface, to kind of reinforce that branding. On navigation, I'm letting the learners know what these two symbols at the bottom of the slides will mean and what their function is. Contact information, I've included some contact for Rosie's Restaurant, just in case the learner would have some questions about this e-learning. And I've started populating the frequently asked questions section, just things about Rosie's Restaurant, but you could also anticipate some of the questions that a learner might have about the tutorial itself. And so now I'm ready to start actually populating my modules. So this entails what an instructional designer would do for each of these skills that are going to be taught within this tutorial. So for positive attitude, right now this module is blank, and I want this first page to act as the landing page for the module. So rather than dive into the module, when the learner is on the graphical user interface and clicks Module 1, they will land here on this first page. So I kind of want them to get an introduction to this module. So I think I'm going to insert an image. I'm going to search the web for the image, and I'm just going to see what positive attitude will return. Maybe a positive attitude quotes. Or just let's see what positive attitude will return. I'm just going to insert this image here. And I can add some text here. In this module, you will learn the importance of developing and maintaining a positive attitude and we'll just leave it at that. If you'd like to increase the size of the text box, decrease the size, increase the font, however you would like this to appear, that is up to you. But remember, images with words is better than just images alone. So then we always want to tell the learner what to do next. So this arrow, they've already become very familiar with what the arrow does. But if you want to reinforce that habit, you can add a text box. And just instruct them something like click the next arrow to begin the module. You want to make sure that they're moving through the module the way you intended for them to move through the module. So little instructions, little reminders here and there are a good thing to do. So then you would actually start building the content of your module. So I've added some text here, and I've also added a drop shadow effect. And just reminding the wait staff, don't be grumpy. Customers always remember the service they were provided. So that's kind of reinforcing what we're trying to promote here is a positive attitude. And along with that, I am going to search for an image. Grumpy waiter. Let's see what that returns. I actually like this picture because it's promoting the concept that we are trying to relay here, which is don't be grumpy. So this actually is a waiter who's very happy and he's smiling. So I'm going to add this picture here. And there should be several pieces of content under each module. So on this second slide here, well, actually in between here, I'm going to insert a new slide. And when I do so, you can see that automatically these two icons are added because I have created them in the master. So this is still module 1, positive attitude. And I'm going to continue. And this time I think I'm going to add a different element. Here I'm going to say, this video will provide you with some tips to maintaining a positive attitude. And if you would like to give some format options here, you can do that drop shadow again. You can do some reflection, however you would like this to appear. Also, you have some choices here about the size and the style of the font. So then I'm going to insert a video. I'm going to find a video that promotes positive attitude. So I'm going to go to insert, and this time I'm going to insert video. I'm going to search YouTube for a video. And the trick here is to select a video that is very relevant to what you are trying to relay, and also one that is not too long. So I would say something that is 5 minutes or less. Also, A word of caution is to watch the video from start to finish, just to make sure that there are no surprise content for you. So I'm going to look for a video and then I'm going to go ahead and insert it. So I found a video that I liked. I watched it from start to finish. The problem is it's a bit long. It's 10 minutes and 57 seconds, but I really like what is said in the middle of the video. So I can choose to start the video at a certain point and end the video at a certain point so that the video still remains about 5 minutes or less to really engage the learners. So just to show you how this might look, I'm going to click here. I know that this is 1 minute 42 seconds. That's where I would want it to start, and let's say I would want it to end at the 8-minute mark. You would just designate the start and end times. If you want the video in its entirety, then you would leave these alone. You wouldn't adjust them. You could also choose to autoplay when you are presenting. So I'm going to go ahead and click that. That way it will just start to play when the learner hits this page. You could also choose the position, things like that. For now, I'm going to leave these in their default. So this is going to give them more content on building that positive attitude. And then I would probably, if I'm finished with that module, then I would want to start building my module 2. And I notice I got ahead of myself just a little bit because this is my landing page for module 1. This is actually right now my module 2, but I want it to be my continuation of module 1. So this is also a positive attitude. And it's just going to be a teachable moment because I'll show you what I need to adjust. And then this is still module 1. And then I actually have to build in a slide here for module 2. My module 2 is served to the left. So since I've made some adjustments, my hyperlinks are going to be a bit incorrect. So I'm going to use this as a teachable moment. I'm going to go back to the graphical user interface. And I am going to make sure that this link goes to the first page of module 1. And it does. And this link, module 2, is still designated to module 1 because I made that adjustment. So I am going to have to edit the link. And I actually want this to go to module 2, which is served to the left. So I'm going to apply that change there. So that was my mistake because I just mixed up these slides a bit. But now I am ready to start populating module 2. And I'm just going to start by letting the learner know what they're going to be learning in this module. In this module, you will learn the proper way to change cutlery, lay down food, and serve drinks. And since pictures and text are better than text alone, I make this a little bit bigger here. Kind of keep it in sync with the other module, how the beginning of the other module looked. I'm going to raise this a little bit to the 24 as well, so everything looks very uniform. And I'm going to add a picture. And I'm going to add this image from the web. And just look for a server who's serving food. Choose this one. Go ahead and insert. And then I can begin with a couple of slides from Module 2. So I'm just going to add a slide. A couple of slides maybe. And this will be Module 2. And I will go ahead and begin populating some content for that module, as well as Module 3, which is clearing the table. So I've added some content to Module 2, added some indicators to reflect and show the learners just exactly what I'm trying to show them in this picture. Found a video that is relevant to teaching the skill of serving to the left. Then began this Module 3 and taught some things about clearing the table. Used callouts to remind the learners what they should say in these situations. And then did a little review of the main things that were learned throughout this tutorial. So we can put it in present to see how everything is looking. I'm going to start with the home page about this course. Kind of scroll through here to make sure everything's working. Make sure that these hyperlinks go to the correct modules. And everything's looking good. I'm going to go back to this home page. The learners might be confused here because there are a lot of options here, but there's no really clear direction on where the learner should start. So I'm going to add something here. So I'm going to add an indicator. So it's called a signal. So you need to signal the learner what to do on the various slides, and it's very important to let them know where to start. So I'm going to insert a text box, and it's going to say click about this course to begin. Or if you want to call this a tutorial, that's fine. Then you would say about this tutorial to begin. And I'm going to add an arrow. And I'm just going to draw the arrow here, signaling that the learner should click here to begin. You could also give the learner, let the learner know who this tutorial is by. So if you would want to give yourself some credit, you would add another text box. Might be a good idea also to let the learner know that this is an audio enhanced tutorial, so that they need speakers and a headset. So if you'd like to add that as well, you could add a text box here with any instructions about this tutorial that you would want them to have. And now let's see how this is all looking. We're going to go to present. It's clear where they should begin. Clear how they should navigate. All the hyperlinks are intact and they're working. So this might be your stopping point. I've added a link here to a quiz because in a future tutorial I'm going to show you how to add on a quiz to make sure that the learner has learned the content. But if you're finished with this, there are several things you can do. The first thing I would want to do is give this a name. So I'm going to call it Waitstaff Etiquette. It's going to be saved in my drive. And when I check the development of the interactive training tutorial against the design of my storyboard, I see that I have included a graphic user interface, an About This Course slide, a navigation slide, a contact slide, an FAQ slide, an introduction to Module 1 with 2 slides for Module 1, an introduction to Module 2 with 2 slides of content for Module 2, an introduction to Module 3 with 2 slides of content for Module 3, a review slide, and a placeholder for the quiz. Your storyboard may have different content slides. You may have only one module with the required number of slides for the assignment. You may have 2 modules and the slides are divided between those 2 modules. Maybe you didn't include a review slide, but you included a conclusion slide. The important thing here is to make sure that you are following the guidelines for the assignment, but also following your approved storyboard for this assignment and making sure that it matches exactly with the tutorial that you developed. And to get to the embed code, what you want to do is go to File, Publish to the Web. You may receive a message asking you if you're sure you want to publish to the web. You would reply yes to that message. Click on Embed, and then copy this embed code. By generating the embed code, you can easily add your project to a learning management system or to a website. If adding to a learning management system, you would log in and locate the Dropbox for this assignment. Click on the icon that says Insert Stuff, enter embed code, and paste the embed code that you just copied. Click Next, and you can see that your project has been embedded right into your learning management system. I'm going to go ahead and click Insert. What you also may be required to do is to add a file. This should be the file that is required according to the syllabus. Oftentimes it is a timeline. So you would click to add file, add that file, and then finally click Submit. So in a future video, I am going to show you how to build a quiz for this same tutorial. And we're just going to tack it on here. And then when all is said and done, I will show you how to use that embed code and insert it into a website. Once again, this is Dr. Shirley J. Caruso. Thank you for joining me in this tutorial on how to create an e-learning tutorial with a graphical user interface in Google Slides. And please subscribe to my YouTube channel.